You are listening to Nobody Everybody with host Hunter Letendre. Unscripted conversations with New England's small business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives. Visit realestatewithhunter.com/nobody-everybody. That's what I think. Piazza.
Piazza, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Some people say Piazza, which is fine.
Yeah, my last name has been butchered my entire life.
Yeah, Hunter. What is it?
Okay, so technically it'd be Letendre. Because it's super French, but I answer to Letendre,
Yeah, Letendre.
basically anything that's close enough.
Yeah, it's hard when it's like European in some sort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, I almost feel like I sound weird being like, no, it's Letendre. I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no.
I don't speak any French, so what right do I have to do that?
Yes, we've Americanized our names.
Yeah, exactly. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. To everyone who's going to be listening, I'm sitting with Kim Piazza. She's the owner of Heart Studio, based out of Windham, New Hampshire. Do you want to give a little background about the studio and what you do?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I am Kimberly Piazza, or Miss Kim at the studio. We own an after-school art and design learning center in Windham, and what we do is we cater to mostly kids of all ages, and we teach them all fine art, 2D medium, as well as problem solving and digital art, just kind of growing their skills, mostly after school, although we do teach toddlers, which I just came from. We teach toddlers on Friday mornings at 10 a.m., so that's kind of like our middle of the day class, and we also do some homeschool groups as well, middle of the day, but our bread and butter and like the most groups we have are after school hours, and it's really fun. We also teach adults too. We do a lot of adult workshops and specialty classes, but that's not as often. So yeah.
So toddler class, what exactly ages toddler classes?
So our toddler class is ages 2 to 5 or 6.
Okay.
We do have some 6-year-olds that come because it's easier for the mom to bring a sibling or their full family. But what it is they come in for a themed class. So today it was gingerbread cities, and we have different stations for them because their attention spans are much shorter.
Yeah. Like a goldfish, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to keep their brains active. So they came in, they were able to design some gingerbread men, woman persons with me at a table with paint markers and these foam gingerbread people. We had a sensory area for them where they played in pasta and were making some recipes for me. They had an area of magnetiles as well. So we try to vary the stations. As soon as everyone's there, we go to the themed craft. So I did a guided gingerbread city with them. So we made awesome like cities. We decorated them with fake icing, which was like paint. We had all these little glitter trees we added, and it was on canvas. It was with a night sky and stuff. But basically every week is a new theme, and they walk out with something they could keep for themselves or use as a gift.
That's awesome. That's adorable. It actually sounds pretty fun too.
It is so fun.
I'm like, you have like an adult version of gingerbread.
It kicks my weekend off like totally, like the best way, because I don't get to teach that like cute little age.
Some are cuter than others. Yeah, so you can say that,
right? So it's like it kicks the weekend off because it's Friday, so it's like it puts you in the best mood. So I kind of feel like it's like my own little treat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Well, I love that you obviously are so passionate about what you do. So let's talk about that a little bit more, right? Because obviously you're the owner of the studio. I know you said you started it during COVID, right? You want to tell us a little bit about that because it's quite the riveting story.
Yeah. So it was actually winter of 2019. I had the idea to open up an art studio. So I had everything planned. I was going to run a certain amount of classes a week. I was going to have an open house. I set the space up by February of 2020. I rented a space, obviously, set the space up, bought all the furniture, decorated it, had all my lesson plans for the year. And then come March 2nd was our first class for that week. We ran for 10 days before the shutdown. We had 25 kids, which was awesome. I thought to start off with 25 kids as a new business. I loved every minute of it. I was learning a lot as I was teaching. And then all of a sudden, I believe it was March 13th, the government was like, you can't run your business. And I freaked out.
Rightfully so. Yeah. That's a valid reaction.
Yeah. So from there, we kind of had to, or I kind of had to think of ways to stay afloat because the PP loan that people were getting, I wasn't able to get because I was so new and I didn't have employees. So I sold art kits. I did online virtual classes. I taught in people's backyards, socially
Wow.
distanced. I did pick up some side design work. Thankfully, I have a design degree, and I had been a professional designer almost 7 years prior, so I had that under my belt. And all of that helped pay the rent, and my landlord still likes me for that. So made it through. And then June of 2020, we were able to reopen, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I really appreciate someone who, when your back's against the wall, you come out swinging, right? You're like, I'm not gonna let this get me. This sucks, obviously, but there's a solution, and obviously you made it work. Did you ever see yourself? I know you came from the corporate world, right? Before that, or when you were a kid or anything, did you see yourself not just being an artist, but being so entrepreneurial? Did you ever see that future?
I did actually. I always had this thing in the back of my mind saying I would start some type of business. I feel like it's kind of ingrained in you as an entrepreneur.
I agree.
And I've had all these different flooding ideas throughout my life, but nothing felt, or I never had the urge to kind of pursue any of them until the idea of becoming a teacher kind of set in. So while I was in the corporate world, I was just getting to the point where I wanted to do something different. And also at the time, this is what triggered the business. And this is what I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they have that moment that they're like, all right, I got nothing to lose. You live one life. So
Love that.
yeah, so my aunt was sick and she didn't make it. She had breast cancer, but it's actually what inspired the whole thing, because seeing someone go through that and realizing life can be really short made me think, you know what do I want to do every day? Do I want to wake up and be in an office, or do I want to wake up and be in a classroom? And I've always been a super nerd and like loved school like my whole life. I was never that kid that, I think I had perfect attendance some years because I genuinely love school. And I loved my after school art classes and that whole environment. I loved college studio life. So I thought, all right, I think every day I want to wake up and be in a school setting. So at this time, I did not fully think about starting the business, but the thought of becoming a teacher and switching from designer to teacher kind of happened. And then once I got all my licenses to teach design and visual communications in Massachusetts, I was ready to make the full transition. My corporate job was super understanding, and they were able to cut my hours. There was no jobs available. So then from there, that's the kick in the butt I got from the universe. And I was like, all right, no jobs available. I've been subbing now at Shawsheen Tech, lovely school in Billerica, for some time. And I got to get started on what I want to do in this life. So I ended up making a business plan and renting a space, because I used to go to after school art when I was a kid. So I kind of modeled it after that, but added some modern things to it with like the digital art and design. So yeah. And then I knew at that moment, I'm like, I'm meant to do this. Like, I've always had that thought in the back of my head of starting some form of business, and also being a product design major degree, is which I was prior in bag designer. You kind of have that entrepreneurial mindset anyways, because you're majoring in basically Shark Tank. So you kind of have that under your belt. So yeah, it worked out.
I love that. I really, I love hearing that. And I think that anyone listening who can relate to that sort of like entrepreneurial, I have this dream mindset, right? I think that because a lot of what you said really resonated with me. I'm a big believer in, what's meant to be will be, right? And the universe it's going to bring you to where you're supposed to be, right? So even if that was like, I'm sure starting up right before COVID, like 10 days before, at the time that had to have been earth shattering, but now you've been through it. And now I would imagine you're stronger for it, and a better at running your business for it. And, all of those things. It happened at the time that it was meant to.
Yeah, I look back and it's honestly a blessing.
Yeah.
Because it was honestly, when we had to reboot back in June, it was almost like my own training in a way. Because I had taught in different settings. I had never taught I taught at Northeastern before, and then also substitute teaching. And then at my old job, I would work with the intern. So I had experience teaching. But because when we came back, the class sizes were so small, it was almost like a baby step training. So I could really get to know each student one-on-one. I didn't feel rushed. And then I just learned that like small size classes are the best. And prior to that, the business plan said like 12 to 14 kids per class. But now I know like it's more valuable to have like smaller classes. And we try our best. There's sometimes we get up to those numbers. We have enough help to make sure kids get the attention they need. But I try to keep it small like how it was in COVID because I do see a difference in my students when they have the attention.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing, honestly. And I learned like how to teach virtually, which I never thought I would do. I learned so much. I learned how to make art kits. Like I would not have changed the chain of events at all.
Yeah. Tell me more about the art kits, because when you say that, I'm picturing, and I used to get them all the time as a kid. It was like a wooden briefcase full of, like, tell me about that. Is that what it sort of is? Or?
So without the nice case.
Okay.
But basically I would set up little like lesson plan class packages for kids that I delivered to people's mailboxes in just like bags from the dollar store.
Okay.
So like, for instance, they could draw an animal on black paper and I would walk them through like, I would give them all the supplies. They would have the black paper, they would have the white charcoal pencil, everything they would need had prompts within it. And they could also email me or call me if they needed any help with the lesson. We did some more craft-based ones too, or I always say we, because I think the corporate world has trained me for
take ownership in your accomplishments. It was you.
Well, I made these like little wooden bunnies, which was hilarious because I am not a woodworker, but like I made these it was around Easter time, wooden bunny kits with stencils that people could put together. Because at that time, people were desperate to do something. Yeah. Because we were all stuck in our house.
I took up like spray painting on canvases.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a creative person. I love to have an artistic outlet. But as far as like painting or drawing, I'm not good at it. Right. So I was like all through COVID in the yard doing spray paint art. And it was really... you needed an outlet. You needed something, right? I'm like, I know it doesn't look good, but I'm having a good time.
Oh yeah, it's all. I always say process over product. Always.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I made kits like that. Basically, they would get a lesson, all the supplies they would need, and I would deliver them throughout town into people's mailboxes or leave them on their front steps, and it worked, thankfully.
Yeah.
Also, the online Facebook virtual classes I would do also worked as well with those I didn't have to provide any materials. I would tell people the time of day I'd be on for the lesson. Like we made a lighthouse one day. We made we drew a lighthouse in color pencil. We drew an elephant. We painted flowers, bunch of different subjects that we touched on. But I tried to make sure it was supplies that people would have at home.
I love that idea. And it seems like you have a lot of sort of unique creative ideas to go along with the business. I mean, obviously, I guess it makes sense, right? But I saw you had you did a charity painting at La Belle Winery recently,
and then I saw
and then self-care Sunday class too. Yes. Those both caught my eye. I'd love to hear about those.
Yeah, so the La Belle class was awesome. It was one of our tied for largest event we've ever done. We were able to donate $900 to breast cancer, which was awesome. It was to I'm like the worst at remembering. I'm such a visual person. Breast Cancer Foundation, we'll just say.
Yep.
But it was through a golf tournament, and the actual golf tournament, the woman's amazing. Shout out to her. She raised $45,000 overall. Wow. So we were just 900 of that.
Yeah, that's something though.
Yeah, so she owns Salon Pure and she's amazing. But yeah, so the point of that event was to help with our donation. And we had 30 women. They came together. We made a thankful painting with different pumpkins on it. Actually, I should say there was one man there. He held down the fort.
Shout out to the one man.
Yeah, he did a great job. But I basically sat up in the front of the room and instructed step by step like a paint and sip. They each got like a free glass of wine, but it was more about like coming together. Everyone brought like a friend or a family member
Yeah.
to make like a piece of art. And I have to say, I'm pretty sure everyone left proud, which was my goal. So it worked out really well. And because I think we were able to get 30 people, they hired us again. So we're going to be back there January 10th. The tickets haven't been posted yet. I believe once I get the sign done for it, which will be next week, they'll post it.
Okay.
But we'll be back there for a sign making class where it's going to be a welcome sign made out of wood with like snowmen and stuff on it. So more craft base as opposed to fine art, but
Yeah.
it should be a I love like wood, painting on wood. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those tickets, are those going to be available on your website?
On our website, but LaBelle's easy because they do all the setup and everything. So if
Okay.
you go on LaBelle events, public events, that they'll have them there. So we're excited. And then the self-care Sunday class is really fun. So and we're going to be doing another one of those because that went really well.
Yeah.
My friend owns Beauty Naps, which is she's an esthetician, and she came to me with the idea to promote some type of like mini facial merged with a painting class. And I said, that
Okay.
sounds excellent.
Yeah.
So I instructed this winter sunset painting to a group of women, and she would kind of pull them aside, and she gave them like self-care on their face. Everyone like left in like the most meditative state. It was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, we had a woman make charcuterie cups for it. We had these little like people brought in like food and like drinks. It was really nice, and it went for the full time. So it was our longest workshop. It was almost 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
But we needed it, and it went by like I felt like it was a half hour because you're in that your right brain painting minus then you go on someone's comfy table in a private area
Yeah.
and get all these cleanse done to your face and massages, and it was awesome. So we're going to do that again because it went well. February 9th. I haven't posted it yet. Again, I need to make the painting for it. So hopefully next week we'll have that for more of a Galentine's themed.
I
So
love
like
that.
girls' night.
Yep.
Actually girls' day because it will be like Sunday brunch time. So yeah, and then they get a facial and a painting. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
you're saying you have to create the painting for it. So is it sort of you've created an example and then do a step-by-step how to mimic it sort of thing?
Yeah, so what I do is I brainstorm either with myself or with the team. When the team comes together, it's always better. We come up with concepts because I try to run the studio like a design, like how we did in design. So we come up with concepts, and then from there we pick our favorite concept or composition for whatever painting we're going to instruct, and then I work on color palettes for it to make sure it's the best it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And then we make a final painting, and then I run through like the steps in order, honestly in my head. But I think like I probably like if someone else were to instruct it, I would write down like the steps, which I have done for people. But I run through the steps and stuff, so that way when I go into painting, there's no instructing it. There's no question. Like I know the flow. So yeah. We always have a plan. We say to the students, remember, design means to plan. We're here. Because a lot of students want to just go right in, which I appreciate. But I like to teach them how to like plan their work. Because
Yeah.
that's what we do in the background. So kind of just plan what they're going to execute.
Did all that, the planning side and the instructing and the step-by-step, did that come naturally to you or was there a little bit of a learning curve?
I feel like I have been learning that throughout my life. So and I've seen the success in it. So I kind of wanted to translate that to my students. And it isn't all, so I would say for a paint night class or like a birthday party, it is very prescripted and step by step. And we like tell them, what shape to do, what color to pick. Sometimes there's customized options, but with the planning aspect for a regular class or regular lesson, it's more of like I want them to create their own plan and learn how to use their problem solving skills.
Yep.
So their project brief could be animals, very general, but I want them to self-direct it. So I want them to brainstorm at minimum of 6 animals, sketch it out. Then they pick the animal that they want. Then they talk to me and say, all right, I want to practice my drawing skills today. All right, you want to, or instead of painting, so say their owl is going to be drawn, I then have them set a plan as to what medium they're going to use. I have them practice sketches of their drawing first before they go to their final. So that way when they go to their final, they feel really confident. Like they have the tools. They've drawn the owl now handful of times.
Yeah.
They've practiced their colored pencil or charcoal, whatever they're using. And so when you have the confidence under your belt, going into the final piece of artwork is, more therapeutic and relaxing and more about like you and the piece as opposed to like, I don't know how to use this pencil.
More satisfying,
yeah,
I
more
imagine,
satisfying.
right?
So yeah, I do try and keep that whole like planning thing. And that's how I was taught too by my after school art teacher, college. So I just kind of continue that tradition.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a really good balance between like fostering creativity and also skill development. That's sort of what I'm getting out of that, which I think that's really important, right? Because one without the other, it's not going to have the same effect.
Right. Yeah, we definitely are big into skill development because that's what gives people the confidence to continue art. A lot of times as kids, we are all born artists. There's a quote that Picasso says, every child is born an artist. So it's but what squashes the artist is people telling you that something's not good enough or people telling you something should be a certain way, and then not feeling like you have the skills to execute that thing. So you're like, I'm not good at it. I'm going to stop doing this.
Yeah.
So by giving them the skills, that gives them the confidence to continue their creative journey. And yeah, so that's kind of like, I kind of run the studio by that. So if I do see a kid or an adult frustrated, we try and work on that skill that they might be frustrated with until they feel happy about it. The creative journey is a battle. There's like moments even as an adult artist where you go into it gung-ho, then you hate it, and then you want to rip it up, but you're like, no, I got to get through this. And then by the end, obviously, sometimes you don't get to the end, you throw it away, but then you try again. But yeah, so it is all about like confidence, I would say, in your abilities and wanting to practice and get better.
Yeah. Again, I really relate to that. So I'm a writer, right? Like I write fiction. And I exactly what you just said, right? You're like, oh, it's amazing. Oh my God, it's terrible. Like, it's just the flip flop between that. I'll have that within one chapter that I'm working on. Like, this is the best thing ever. Oh my God, it's garbage, right? But you got to keep pushing.
Right.
And you're right. That takes confidence and it takes, a certain level of self-assurance and just believing in your own ability to do something.
Right. And that's something that myself and the people that work at the studio, we were really big on, like making sure people are proud of their work. And they're not getting validation from me or but having them being proud on their own. So like, instead of being like, what should we do? Always say like, good job and like nice work. 'Cause like that happens.
Feels good. Yeah.
I mean, they are doing a great job. But like, I always like to ask them like, how do you feel about it? Like, are you proud of that? Or like, where do you want to improve? Because like, I want it to come from them and instead of like me. And I think that's what's made kids like stick around because it is about them. They're like growing their skills and it's not about what Miss Kim. It should never be about what Miss Kim thinks, So, yeah.
Is there any trend that you've noticed in, the creative mindset, I guess, of kids? Because I feel like I've heard that. You're like, oh my God, yes. All right,
no one's ever asked me this before.
All right, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. I just think from when I was a kid, I feel like I was such a slow. We have patient workers, but I feel like I was so patient and I probably took too long. And these days, and I don't know, I feel like when I speak like this, I sound like I'm like 105 years old, but like back in my day, but like they work so quickly. And I do think it has to do with the technology and like instant gratification that we have now and being in front of screens so much. So honestly, because like, I know these kids, they all have the skill, but I just want to slow them down.
Yeah.
So I would say there is a different way to different method of teaching or from back then till now. It's like we just have to like slow these kids down and we have ways, so it does
Yeah.
work. It's just, yeah, they're definitely the kids from the 90s, like my generation. I feel like we also weren't in front of screens, and we were being more creative on our own, building in mud. Who knows?
There was less to do.
Yeah, less to do,
Yeah.
right?
I used to go in the yard and build a little fire and cook eggs on it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I used to like go in the woods and grab like leaves and grass and make like soup.
Yep.
And then like
Soup
use
and
my dad's
forks and...
huge video camera and film like a fake Food Network
Oh yeah,
show.
yep.
Like,
I was big on the like filming
Oh,
short.
yeah.
I've got some still that are, if they ever get out in the public, I'll just die. They're
yeah.
so embarrassing.
Yeah, oh
but...
my gosh, I have so many of those. But yeah, so I think now the change in the fact that like I've said this 10 times, but like slowing down and also kind of retraining them on how to like tap into that, when you're bored or like when you don't know what to do, like how to go into your brain to figure out what to do. Because there's like a lot of less opportunity for boredom nowadays.
Yep.
And I think being bored as a creative is the best thing possible.
I agree.
Because that's where you get all of your ideas. So, yeah. So.
No, I totally agree with that. I feel like I have some of my best ideas for my writing lying in bed awake at night and during really long car rides.
Yes.
Like that's some of my best creative time.
I agree.
You mentioned methods to slow the kids down in the classes. What are some of those?
When I see them like using the paintbrush, like a weapon. No, I'm just kidding. No, when I see them, getting like using it way too quick, I go over. I say, oh, this is how we're gonna hold it, and we're gonna sweep the floor very slowly. Like
Yeah.
I show them little ways, and I'm like, and look, it's smoother. Or if you want to make a texture, you can count through it, like
Yeah.
with the paintbrush up and down, up and down. It doesn't have to be so intense and aggressive. Also, if I go to a kid when they're mid brainstorm and they don't know, or they think that their first idea is good because they're like, all right, let's move on.
Yep,
I like to
did
work
it,
quickly.
done. Yep.
Like, I'm like, all right, so I know you don't want to sit here and go through all this and you want to move on to the next step because that's what all these kids want to do. We might pick this idea, but I know you can think of 5 more.
Yeah.
Like I really try to encourage them. And sometimes I'll sit with them. So say go back to the animal thing. It's an animal project. They put a snake down, and then I'll ask them, and that's what they want to do. They want to do a snake. I'll ask them, all right, that's a reptile. Think about an amphibian.
Yep.
Think about a mammal. And then I'll go through. So then I'm like, look, you filled your whole page with different ideas. And so I hope that they take those tools into other parts of their life. Because, sometimes your first idea is your best one, but it is good to flesh it all out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even if it is that first idea, right? It can always be improved in some way.
Right.
Right? There's always more that you can do.
Exactly. So, yeah, I would say just kind of working with them individually and, showing them how to slow down. Like, I'm a kinetic learner, so if I see them using their pencil, very quickly.
Like a weapon.
Like a weapon. I'll show them, oh, this is how I would do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you noticed anything? I feel like, my fiance is a teacher, so I hear a little bit about what it's like in the school system right now. And from what I've sort of seen is it seems like art's taken a little bit of a back step in the public school system than at least it did when we were kids. Is that something that obviously you're not super in that world exactly, but is that something that you would relate to?
So I'm not sure if art's taken a back step because I feel like I actually ask all of my students do have art class, and then sometimes they come on a day that they had art class already, so they love that day because they had it twice in one day. But I do just think public schools teaching is a little. This is gonna sound. I loved art class in school, so nothing against this, but could be a little dated in the way they're going about teaching because from what I'm told, they go in and they only have 45 minutes usually. I could be wrong. Teachers speak up. They don't have a lot of time to
Teachers comment, correct us.
Yeah, they could. It's too short of a class, I think, to have the full creative experience and creative thought process, which I get. There's only so many hours in the day, and I have to go through a lot of subjects. So I wish that their classes were longer, and I wish they had more like problem solving prompts as opposed to like, all right, everyone's coming in making this bunny rabbit. We're using marker. We're using, I wish it was because we're in the era of like design technology, like, and art is a way. Practicing art as a kid is a way to transition later in life to use like problem solving skills to become a user experience designer, industrial, fashion. Like it's like the base, I feel like. So I think in art, if they were to phase the project more open endedly in public school, they would have, kids would probably be more excited about art class because they're more in control of it, of their decision. So instead of a bunny and colored pencil that you have to do this way, maybe it's just the theme of Easter, or they couldn't do that, it's religious, but like it's the theme
I get
of
what you mean,
spring.
though. Yeah.
You know what I mean? More open ended, and then I think the kids would flourish more. Although I do know like the art teachers in our area are awesome. And I like follow some of them on social media, and they do a really good job with what they have. And like they have to, the state and government like gives them these lessons, I'm pretty sure, and like they have to abide by them.
Yeah.
So, but that's why they have Heart Studios around.
Exactly.
So,
That's why you came in, right?
So they can have two styles of learning. They can do exactly the class at school, and they come to Heart Studio and have a little bit of that more creative space.
Yeah. Well, that's like the true like entrepreneurial journey, right? So on one hand, this is something you're passionate about, you have this calling for it, but on the other hand, you're seeing there's a gap in the market for a business like this, right? Their needs for this are not being met in school.
Right.
I'm assuming you did some amount of market research, at least in your area, be like, make sure there's not 10,000 other art schools in the area.
Yeah.
Why don't you walk me through a little bit of what that process was like, just as a building the business sort of aspect?
Yeah, so I ended up choosing Windham, New Hampshire specifically, or Salem, I was thinking too. One, because I had gone to school there and I was familiar with the people already. And then two, because I noticed there really wasn't any art and design learning centers in the area. And then I did more of a broad research, and I don't think many of the art schools are around at all teach design. So I was like, this is a niche.
Yeah.
Which is funny that no one else that I could find has an art and design school, because a lot of the colleges are both. Like I went to Massachusetts College of Art and Design. They like pair well together. I think they work simultaneously. So yeah, in my research, when I looked up, there was nothing else like it in the area. And I was familiar with the people in Windham, Salem area. They're lovely. I love all the families there. They're so supportive. Oh my gosh. I would not have made it through COVID without you. Literally, I love all the parents so much. But yeah, so, and I think as a entrepreneur, if you are involved in the community prior to opening your business in any way, or if you just know people, it's all word of mouth.
Yep.
So that was big for me, because I wouldn't have felt comfortable opening it up, I think, anywhere else. I felt so comfortable in that community. I loved Salem High School. I still talk to Mr. Ariel, who works there, my former teacher. My former high school art teacher, Miss McCune, Rhonda, love her. She wrote my college recommendation. We're still friends. She works at my studio now. So it comes full circle. So I just think, like, as an entrepreneur, picking your location is key. And feeling like you kind of already have a foot in it. Because people want to support you. They want to see you win.
Yeah.
For the most part. So yeah, it was definitely research behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. Small businesses are so important, right? And I think we're also finally kind of turning a corner here where people are so sick of the mega corporations.
Oh, yeah.
Like Barnes and Noble, I mean, I shop there, I enjoy it, right? But it's eating up every independent bookstore,
So true.
I don't know if there's an equivalent for art studios, but it's I think we're getting back to a time where people are recognizing how important small business is and they want to support it.
I totally agree. I feel like Michael's right now for us
There
is
you go.
like the
Yep.
big, I mean, AC Moore doesn't even exist anymore. But
Yeah.
when it did go out of business, it was a benefit for us because it went out of business the same time I was buying supplies to start the
Okay.
business. So I bought like aisles. But yeah, it's so literally just Michael's in our area, Hobby Lobby. Like there's not much art supply stores, but I think Michael's is kind of like the Walmart of the art supply
They do
centers.
seem to have a lot of stuff that isn't really art supplies in a Michael's. Like
Yeah. Yes,
everything,
so much.
puzzles and like
Yeah.
games and
And I don't get me wrong, I love Michael's,
Yeah.
but like yeah. So I feel like when, say for instance, if I were to like sell like a bracelet I made or something at my studio and it was also at Michael's, I think people see the value in spending the extra dollar or two by
Yeah.
buying it from Miss Kim or Miss Kim's workers because they know how much that is like supporting our brick and mortar.
yeah.
They don't want to see us go away. What I feel. But, yeah.
No, I agree. Well, I think people too, it's like one thing to be like, oh, I got this bracelet from, whatever,
Yeah.
this Michael's, this chain store.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got this from my favorite art studio where my
Right.
kids go. And, look at this piece of
Right.
art my kid made there.
Kind of like Etsy too. Like
Yeah.
that's why Etsy's so awesome. I mean, well,
It is starting to get a little
it's
bit
getting
more commercial bulk.
yeah, which is the downfall. But in the beginning, it's like all just people making stuff at their homes or in their basements
Yeah.
or in their little studios. And I actually do go on Etsy to buy gifts a lot, and I try and do my research to make sure it is like an actual like person and like
Yeah.
all this because I like to support small business, especially women in business. But yeah, so Etsy's kind of like that model in a way.
When I discovered Etsy when I was a teenager, and I'm a huge nerd and I love like Harry Potter
Oh,
and
yeah.
like the Hunger Games and like
Me
all
too.
these different
Yeah.
books. Love, love, love.
Yeah.
And I remember going on finding Etsy as a teenager and there was all this like homemade merch for all these things like that
Yeah.
you couldn't get anywhere else. And I was like, oh my
I
God,
need
this is the
this.
best thing
Yeah.
ever.
So
And it was
good.
also like really looking back, just really nerdy and
Yeah,
like,
but
goofy,
no,
but I loved it.
I read all the Hunger Games
Oh, yeah.
on flights to China for my old
Ooh,
job.
Okay.
And I did not read all the Harry Potter, but I love all the movies. I read up to book 3. I feel like my attention span as a child was very. I mean, I was just saying I was focused, but like for reading for some reason, I read up to book 3. And I think then at that point, I was like a tween and like, I'm just going to watch the movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
You got to try them again. They
Yeah.
they are still good as an adult,
Oh, yeah.
especially the first ones are kind of kiddie, right?
Right.
But you got to read them, and then the later ones are
so good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they're for a mature audience
Yeah,
too. I still
definitely.
read them every couple years.
No, I should. I actually talk about that all the time because I'm like, I gotta read the rest of Harry Potter. Who am I? I teach like Harry Potter birthday parties. I'm a fraud.
You're like, I need to have better research on the source
Yeah,
material
I
here.
know. I actually do though. Like we had Descendants birthday party. I had never seen the movie. Have you heard of
I've
Descendants?
heard of it. I don't really know anything about it.
It missed our generation because it's for
Okay.
the younger kids.
Yep.
The night before I have Disney Plus for this reason. The night before the movie,
Is it a
party,
write-off?
Yeah, no, it should be. I like actually should.
It
'cause
definitely should be.
Yeah, but I like watched Descendants before the birthday party because I felt like a fraud. And my boyfriend was like, "What are we watching?" I'm like, "I watch so much golf. Like, you're sitting here and watching this
Take notes.
child's musical."
Yeah. Was it good?
Yeah, it was actually amazing. I was like, "I'm such a kid." It was very good. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's everything it's Disney.
Yeah,
Right? Everything Disney,
Oh,
for the
they
most part, is still so. I
Yeah.
love like a
They
good
do an
Disney
amazing
movie.
job.
Yeah.
No, Moana 2's out now.
I haven't seen that just came out, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I thought the first one was pretty good.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
I feel like we'll go see that. But I
Yeah.
saw Wicked. That was great.
I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh, I'm excited.
You're gonna love it. I already want to see it again. I saw it with my.
It's like
mom and
3 hours
sister.
though, right?
2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, 3
Okay.
hours.
Oof.
Oh,
Okay.
it doesn't feel like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Nothing hits though like the old Disney stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
Like
Lion
Pocahontas.
King, Pocahontas, Mulan.
Oh, I love Mulan.
so
She was
good.
my girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
The new one, the live action was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep. I will say though, and that brings it almost back to like art as like we just
Yeah.
keep getting these live action remakes of
Yeah,
things.
I know. We need some
And,
new stuff.
yes, give us new stuff. I mean, some of them are good,
Yeah.
right? Some of them are fine, but then do we really need like a shot for shot live action remake that's adding nothing? If anything, it's just taking stuff
Right,
away.
exactly.
over
Well,
and
I even
over.
saw they're doing another Lion King. It'll be-
Another?
yeah, and it's like it's all like animated, but like the advanced animation where the lines almost look real.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I'm like, another one? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it. But
You're like, I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but
yeah, but like,
but why
yeah,
not like a new
I
story,
know.
like a spin-off of it or something?
I was
Or
thinking that honestly, I was thinking of this after I left Wicked because of the previews I saw. I was like, yeah, I need something new here.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll see.
I
Maybe
know.
this generation of Heart Studio kids will,
Yeah, there
maybe
you
they'll
go. Well,
help
you're
with that.
fostering something important there, right? Get them to
Hopefully.
go. Like all of you need to go to Hollywood when you're
Yes.
older and stop the live action
Yes, I
remakes.
know. Lock yourself in a room. You use your brainstorming skills
Yep.
and storytell. You got this.
Yep. You're like everything I taught
Yes.
you. Like I
Yeah, 'cause-
taught you it for a reason.
Well, we have stop motion animation classes that we run.
Yep. I was watching some of those videos on your
Yeah,
website.
they're so
Actually, they're so cute. They're
Like,
so
oh my
cute.
gosh, they do such, and that's like catering to storytelling and all that. And Mr. Tim, who teaches those, is is an anomaly a word? He's amazing. Yeah, so he's been in the film industry, animation
Okay.
industry for his entire career, and Tim, I'm gonna say your age. You're around, I think he's in his early 60s. He does not look like that at all, but he's been doing it for decades. So maybe his students will make some new
Yeah.
storylines and
Yeah.
movies for us.
What other mediums do you teach? So obviously painting and stop motion and anything else?
Yeah, so everything's 2D, and I wish we could do more 3D because that's what I'm trained in. It's the space that we have that's too
Okay.
small, which one day maybe we'll have a larger one. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, so we do all fine art, 2D medium, drawing and painting, digital art, and stop motion animation.
Okay.
But I would love to do clay, sculpture, jewelry.
Yeah.
I am touching on jewelry a tiny bit, not like melting metals, which is my jam.
That sounds amazing.
Oh my God, putting on like using a blowtorch is the best thing ever.
If you start offering that, I'm definitely coming.
I know.
And for
Huge-
anything clay too, pottery,
Yeah, I
like
love all that.
sculpting.
I like took woodworking. I'm not great at woodworking. I took a couple woodworking in classes in college, like all of that, like 3D, like hard skills, like use the tools.
Yeah.
Like I would love to, future be able to like have a space that caters to that. But for now, it's simple, fine art 2D, anything on paper and computer because of the space.
Well, you still, I mean, it sounds like you offer a lot of things still,
Yeah.
right? So it's,
Like sometimes like I buy air dry clay, which I absolutely despise because it's all we can use because I don't have
Yeah.
a kiln.
yeah.
They'll play and like make like a little warm up to like their elephant that they might draw. Like I'll have them like sculpt a little like air dry clay version of it so they can understand how it, operates three-dimensionally, which does help a drawing. But the clay like cracks and then they want to paint it and they want it to be this big final thing. I'm like, I just want to let you know this is not great clay. It's just all we can have here.
Yeah.
And don't think of it as a final piece of like thing that you're gonna treasure forever. Like it's probably gonna crack.
Yeah.
It's more for learning. It's like a
Yeah.
sketch.
Yep.
We sketch with it. Like we just bought like a bunch more tubs of it because we went through it. But yeah, there are like tiny bit of 3D we get. And some kids, we do like collage and stuff. That's a little bit more 3D, which I've been enjoying. And then we, back to what I was saying. For our Taylor Swift event that we're running, we're going to be doing charm bracelets. So
Okay,
again, not like
cute.
melting metals and things, but still like playing with color and like
Yeah.
design in a way and different formats. So yeah.
That's cool. I bet the kids love that, like a
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift theme event. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you get a lot of adults at that too, honestly.
Yeah, so it's a kid class, but there's 12 slots for it. And the week I advertised it, I have to re-advertise it. 11 slots like sold.
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness. So they're going to be designing a bag with me because I was a former bag designer. We're going to make it with patches and zipper pullers and gems, and I have all this fabric glue stuff, whatever. It's going to be awesome. They're designing a little crossbody bag, bracelets, and then if we have time, they are going to be doing a little painting. So that is more of like a design class in a way because it's not like a typical painting class. Then they each get a cupcake of their they ordered one, chocolate or vanilla. And we're giving away a Taylor Swift fedora at the end because at the end of her concert, she gives people a black fedora.
Yep.
So that'll be part of it. So it should be fun. But
Cute.
yeah, I would love to do more 3D. one day.
There's so much more that and this is always the case with everything. There's always more that goes into something than people who aren't involved with it think. Like you're here, you're like, oh, the bag and the bracelets, and everyone gets a cupcake that they got to choose. I'm like, how do you even manage all this beforehand? You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like I love having a plan, like I've been saying. So, and I like doing things ahead of time for the most part. So, we had posted that so long ago. I feel like that we posted that back in like September. So it's on her birthday, December 13th, naturally. It had to be.
Yeah.
I literally planned a family trip around it. We were supposed to leave early. I was like, no, I have a Taylor Swift event to attend to, and it has to be December 13th. But I've had like months to order. I've had months to like design the bag. My sister helps. She's awesome. She's helps with like some of the back end stuff, and I've had months to order the beads. I'd still have to do an example for the charm bracelet. But, you know, if we post it ahead of time enough and we know who's coming, which is awesome, we generally that we have enough time to plan at the studio. And we have Miss Tracy who works with us, the manager, who's my second brain, if not my only brain. She's on it. That woman is an angel saint. Like, she'll be like, did you order, like, she'll remind me, like, we have this event, like, she'll remind me way ahead of time. Did you order this yet? Did you do this? She'll find, like, the best deal, do it, like, before I like, say, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, I can sense that this wasn't done.
Yeah, she's, like, literally my brain. So, thank you, Tracy.
Are there any other team? So, what's kind of the structure of the team, I guess, then?
Yeah, so we have Tracy, who's the studio manager, and she also will be a sub when I'm out on maternity leave, and she has the skills and ability to take classes when I am out. So she's like the main one. Again, my brain.
You're like, I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yeah,
Like...
she's so like amazing. And then we have Miss Megan, who we hired in February, also a brain, and an art guru genius. Like, look at meganwalsh.com, and then you can, like, your jaw can drop because her artwork is incredible. She teaches she will when I'm out Mondays and Fridays. She has the capacity and skills to teach classes on her own, so she's been great to have. She's also really good at our brainstorm sessions, so she was the one who thought of Taylor Swift idea.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was the one who thought of that. And then my sister helps with like back end website updating. She is a user experience designer.
Okay. Your website's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That would be my sister and I, but she's great with editing and all that. So she's kind of like the back end, and like, oh, like we're doing a Spider-Man birthday this weekend, Avengers theme. So like I had her like update the painting for it. Like, she has an art background too. So if we need like any painting updates, or if I don't have, we had this random, it's cute. Look up a fennec fox.
I know what those, yeah.
Yeah, so cute. I had
They're
no
so
idea.
cute.
We had a fennec fox birthday party. I'm like, what is this? So she did the research
That's so
on
niche.
it. So niche. And then she like painted the painting for it. So she's great. Then we have Mr. Tim, who teaches stop motion animation, and then Rhonda McCune, who teaches middle of the day adult drawing and watercolor classes, who was my former art teacher in high school at Salem High School.
Okay.
So that's like pretty much the team. And then we have people, Kristen Sudati has done like a lot of like sign making classes for us. She's a mom in town who has like small business sign making, like what you would, well, hers are amazing, but like kind of like Etsy vibe.
Okay. Like decor.
Yeah,
kind of
like
signs?
decor.
Gotcha.
Like, and she taught me how to do all that.
Okay.
So if it wasn't for her, then I wouldn't be able to teach this like LaBelle class that I'm teaching in January. So there's a lot of people I've met along the way that have kind of like, it's been like, I feel like fate, like can now like, oh, I can do this now because I met this person. But yeah, so that's like our team. So main team, Tim, Tracy, Megan, Kelsey, and myself, and Rhonda.
And was it, when you started, was it just you and like your sister? Or?
Yeah, it was just me.
Okay. Yep. Facing down COVID by yourself.
Yeah, and it was just me and my tears. No. No, I guess I did cry a lot.
Oh, nobody would blame you.
No,
Like, yeah, I think everybody, even if you weren't starting a business,
Yeah.
was crying during COVID
Yeah,
a decent amount.
it was life.
I was in my yard doing my spray paint art crying. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, why? I have this whole space. I'm like sanding bunny rabbits, inhaling like dust, dying. No, but it was fine. So it was just me at first, and then a year later, although my like family was very supportive. So like when I went to tour different like spaces, like my dad came, which was nice. My mom, like I had support, which was
Yeah.
awesome. But then a year later, Tracy came, and then my sister, Mr. Tim, within the past like year and a half, 2 years, I would say. And Megan's our newest, but like she's amazing, and I'm blessed that she has found us because
Yeah.
she completes the team. So I feel very good about where we are. We have some high school interns that help too.
Okay. Nice.
They're great.
Nice.
I love them. It's usually just like a student that wants to work at the studio,
It's like
and
some free labor kind of
yeah,
thing.
well, yeah, I do pay them
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Good for you.
cash, Uh, sorry, the IRS is gonna call me. But like they like, I mean, I guess it's like how you would pay a babysitter in a way. Like parents do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
but
wouldn't
yeah,
worry about
I
it.
do. Yeah, I do pay them because I'm always under the mindset I always felt like I was taken advantage of when I was that free intern because I did so much work. Like,
Yeah.
and so I told myself when I opened a business, I'd make sure everyone would get paid
Yep.
what I would want to be paid.
Yeah.
So they do get a little cash, and they love it. And it's usually a student that comes to me that wants to work there, and then I can see that they like to organize. They like kids. Like I can observe enough to be like, all right, you know what, you would be a great fit for this.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's kind of like an example of karma, right? Like you're treating people how you'd want to be treated. You're putting good vibes out there, and then I'm sure you're having better people to work with because of it.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Like you can now hire these people that are going to be the best at what they do and be more passionate about it.
right, yeah. So it does work out.
For your, the main members of your team, did they come to you or were you seeking people for those roles?
They came to me. I literally, it's wild. Like the universe is so real because I would be thinking in my head, like, I need to hire someone.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
wouldn't do anything about it because I'm doing 5,000 other things, I feel like, at
Yep.
the same time. So I never did. I never had to post an ad or anything. Like, they came in my email.
Okay.
Besides my sister, she came with family. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm very lucky. And people do still to this day, like, come through to my email. I just don't have, like, the space right now for, we're, like, fully staffed, I feel like.
Yeah.
We're small, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, these people just really like when you get a sense.
Oh yeah.
I go on their website or like just hear the way they're writing. I don't know. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. And then usually, so far, those are the only people I've ever interviewed are the people that work there. So I haven't had like done much, but like we hit it off and it's been awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Again, it's like it's all about timing, right? Those
Yeah.
people that are reaching out, you can't take them on now.
No, yeah, I feel
down
bad.
the line.
Yeah.
No, but you don't
Yeah,
feel
I
bad,
know,
right?
I know.
You also have to do what's best for you and your business.
Yeah, it's like I can't give you a job where I don't have anything for you to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because
so.
then you're just going to hurt everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I just took on everyone that wanted a job and now we're in trouble.
Right. Well, actually, I learned my lesson because, like, at one point I had too many interns, and I felt like
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I can't even give this person like an hour. This is not. So, like, right now, it's like fine. We don't have too many. It's like 2 interns. I feel like, yeah, 2. It's all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, then I've learned it's better to give someone more hours than like have them waiting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because they want to work there for a reason, too.
Yeah, they
don't
wanna
wanna
make
just
money.
be
They
like
wanna
on call
learn.
for a little bit of work.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it works out.
Have there been any big, challenges to overcome other than like COVID related ones and general startup ones? Like anything weird or unexpected?
Currently, our current challenge, which didn't expect, but maybe it's a sign, our create and craft class, which was rolling like wildfire. We had last year we had like 12 kids in it. It was like busy. That's our toddler class.
Okay.
For some reason, this season is like actual crickets. Like I'm like, what's going on? Tried like reaching out to different Montessori schools, library, but I also think there was a couple of things. One, I'm pregnant, so I think it's a sign for me to slow down. And this week we actually had a full like back to normal. We had like 6 kids in the studio like
Yeah.
today currently. Like I just left and came here. So I feel like it is back. It's like the colder months is like less for the toddlers to do, and parents want to get out and do something worthwhile with their kids. So I think it'll get back to normalcy. But for fall, we had to cancel classes and things. But I do think it was because like I was in my first trimester. Looking back, I mean, this is my excuse. You guys can think what you want, but I think maybe it was because it was a Friday. It was our, I probably should have be starting mentally my weekend. I shouldn't be waking up. That's the one day where I wake up early. So in the end,
Then go take care of like toddlers all day, right?
Thank you for not coming because I was able to sleep and grow my child.
Yeah.
But it wasn't at the time when it was happening. I was like, this is a huge issue. We have no one here.
Yeah.
There's this one lady who kept signing up. I had to refund her every week, which is fine. But like I felt bad. I wanted this little girl to make art with me. She had no one to do it with.
Oh, God.
So yeah, there are times where it's like, what's going on? But
yeah,
it's okay. I think we're back now as of today.
Okay.
So
awesome.
we'll see.
I know I have a lot of clients that have young children, so they'll probably listen to this too, and maybe you'll get some of them.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Come visit us. It's also Miss Megan too who teaches. I was just covering for her today, but we kind of like bounce back and forth for that class, and she's, as I mentioned, like amazing. So yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned a lot of things you have coming up. Is there anything that you haven't brought up yet that you might want to promote that's coming up? We went through quite a few.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We have a Paint Your Partner event that I haven't really done a good job advertising. January 17th. That should be fun. It's going to be like a date night.
I love that. That is so cute.
I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do a Wicked event soon. I'm thinking it would potentially, we're just talking about this, so keep your eyes out because we have some ideas for this come up new events. But because I saw the movie and was so inspired, we'll probably do we'll play the music, we'll do a painting, and I was thinking of making green and pink bracelets or something.
Okay.
So keeping the creativity.
Not gonna like paint someone green.
No, I know, right? No. Although kids do paint themselves in class, and I'm like, can you guys not do that? I'm not gonna send you home with like.
You're like, I'm in charge of you right now. Can you please not?
Yeah, let's not paint ourselves.
I mean, I guess they're not eating it then, right?
No.
Or that probably happens too on occasion.
No, it's usually me that like by accident gets paint on in their mouth. But no, luckily I haven't had many people. Besides when we were doing one time, this was by accident. I learned never to teach this ever again. We were it was a camp. We were doing blow bubble art where you like blow into soap and paint.
Yep.
And it creates a mountain of bubbles over a bowl, and then you pop them on a canvas. However, you need to blow outward. And one kid drank it, and I was like, okay, I'm never.
Okay.
It was age 5 to 7, and I felt bad, and like I was hoping if you drink dish soap, you can get seriously sick.
Yeah.
But he was fine. I don't know how much he actually drank, but he did not like the taste, obviously. And I had to like bring him to the sink and had him like gargle like regular water. Nothing you can do. But so I learned.
It's just kid stuff. That's what they do, right?
We learned to not have that in our class anymore. It was a color science class. So we just replaced it with a different experiment. But yeah, that was the only time I think someone ate paint.
Yet. There's always more time to eat paint, knock on wood.
Besides me, because it's like always on my hands and I'm like touching my face. I'm like, oh my God. Paint all
but then you're
over
like,
me.
I've definitely eaten a lot of paint in my life and I'm fine.
I made it this far.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Awesome. I think we've sort of covered everything. Is there anything else about the business that we haven't talked about that you want to mention? No. And definitely let us know what is your website?
Oh yes,
access.
I feel like you covered it all, even things I've never talked about before. So thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say overall, like my big closing thing is a thank you to all of the parents that bring their kids to our studio, and the parents that come to class too, because it's made this like amazing community that I didn't even. No, my dreams didn't even know were possible. Like I knew I would get to work with kids, but to have it at this level every week, people coming back over and over again, it just means so much to me. And like, I'm not going to cry right now.
I can edit it out if you want to.
Okay, yeah. I think it's the hormones, but
I'll just dub something over and be like, she's not crying right now.
But like, I just really shout out to all of the people that make our community possible, because you are loved, and my dreams are coming true.
Aww.
So yeah, so that, and then our website is heart HEART-studios.com, and that's because that's the only one that was available for
There's
it.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, maybe the S sign. Maybe we'll do a second one in the future. Who knows? But it
Yeah.
was supposed to be Heart-Studio.
Gotcha.
They didn't have it available.
That's
so.
all you can do, right?
Yeah.
You can always get it in the future and route it to, to the same one.
Exactly.
So you must be coming up on your 5-year anniversary then, right? Are you going to do an event?
Oh, yeah. So we started our first art gallery show last year, an expo at Cyril School and Chapel for year 4, but we're going to do a bigger and better improved one. It went really well. We had 300 guests.
Wow.
This year it's going to be April 4th. It will be our 5-year. Tickets are $5 as usual. We're going to have like a rainbow candy bar. We're going to have all the artwork on display in categories like before. I will have a newborn baby attached to me,
Aww.
which is exciting. But yeah, we are so excited about the 5-year. Plans are in the works. We have the space pretty much rented. I have to go and drop the check off. And we're going to have a whole thing for them. And the kids love it because they have their name next to their artwork. They go and it's like a recital.
Yeah.
Like they go and take pictures with their artwork. We have our stop motion animation on a big screen there.
Nice.
So
Those were so funny on the
so
website.
funny.
They
I
were
know.
hilarious.
I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids' brains are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be the biggest and best one we've done so far, even though we only did one last year.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get more than 300 people. I mean, I feel like we could. We have a really good community. And with the tickets being $5, like, I feel like that's feasible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable for sure.
Yeah, that just helps us, honestly.
Yeah, it's so you're not making a profit, right? You're just to run the event. Yeah.
Yeah, the $5 just helps. We have a lady who donated all of matting last year, which was insane for all the canal. She's out of Nashua, so if you ever need to like frame your artwork, canal framing in Nashua, I'm 90% sure. Again, I'm really bad at remembering names of things. And then so originally I was like, oh, the $5 is going to go to matting artwork, but she donated all of that. But it went to like, we bought pizza, we bought like t-shirts, we bought like raffle baskets, we bought a bunch of stuff, the renting of the space, a bunch of things that we had to get for the event. So the $5 does help with that. So yeah.
Awesome.
You guys should come April 4th this year. 4-4, 5 years, Cyril School and Chapel. It's a Friday night. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
I really
fun.
enjoyed this.
Thank you.
You're like, wasn't so bad, right?
No, it wasn't. I was very nervous in the beginning, per usual, but
you did good.
You're wonderful.
Oh,
so.
thank you.
Yeah,
it's a nerve-wracking thing, right? The first episode I recorded, I was listening back to it, and I'm like, all I did was like nervous laugh the entire time. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I have to cut this out.
I know. In the beginning, I'm like, I forget English.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.